Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are Denver's best board gaming podcast, officially awarded
#1 local board gaming podcast from a free magazine.
Denver #1 popular.
Yes.
Denver #1 popular right here, Mile High Game Guys.
We just recently mentioned winning awards by default via the Golden Geek Awards. Basically, you can only ever win once. So once everyone else is done winning, we will automatically be the winners.
Yes.
Correct.
Clearly, that is exactly what happened in this.
in Denver Westward.
They must have given it to Heavy Cardboard like last year or something like
Yeah.
well,
Yep.
Their sounding board, but they're more of a YouTube thing.
And they're
so-
like Wheat Ridge, not really
exactly,
Denver.
yeah.
Or we could just go with the fact that, we're the only ones who's actually in Denver. Because although Heavy Cardboard says they're a Denver-based podcast, those bastards are way the shit out in Commerce City.
Yes, they are.
They're 30 minutes from Denver. The shenanigans.
Mhm.
So we continue to, win by default.
Default.
This is the second time that I have been in Westward. Because we were once, the Wednesday game nights that I run was included as one of the top 5 best free things to do in Denver this week. So, so we got that going for us too.
Now, instead of being the best thing, one of the 5 best things in a week, now you're one of the top
Things of 2018.
500 things in 2018.
I liked on the website that we were right above like best place to see like
To buy a buffalo skull.
buy a buffalo skull and best place to view skeletons.
In the actual Westward, because we weren't just online.
Yes, there is a magazine.
Yep. In the actual magazine, we are listed along other podcasts, such as Best Religious Podcast
and Civil Rights Podcast.
and Best Civil Rights Podcast.
Or no,
Best
Civil Affairs, I think.
Civil Affairs, something like that. Best Denver podcast. It's like just local Denver stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, they did actually group us with other podcasts in the print edition. Online, we stand alone with buffalo skulls and skeletons.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
I think it's very apt.
Yeah.
Indeed. I'm sure we will have a link to that wonderful website.
Yes. If you were in our Slack channel, you would have already seen it.
Yes.
Because it was posted in the Slack channel. Maybe only in the
yesterday?
Patreon only. I can't remember where you posted it, Jeff.
Yeah. Twitter. Definitely Twitter.
Definitely Twitter.
Yeah.
And
I shared it on Twitter.
They referenced Matt's email about the fake history.
The fake Roman emperors.
Yeah.
I like that they actually used fucktard or fuckwad or something.
Definitely
like
had
that.
cursing in the magazine and the website.
Well, it helps potential listeners know that
exactly what they're getting in for.
Exactly. Fucktards.
Fucktards. Yeah, I think they actually used the word fucktards. Is that right?
So.
Okay.
Because Optimus Douchebagus was stoned for being a fucktard.
Yes. Yes.
which was actually put into the award.
Yes.
So.
Matt said he was sorry. It's like, I'm so sorry.
Well.
Anyway.
Yeah,
we might not have gotten that award if not for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sweet blog content.
Yeah.
We should put Andrew's actual history stuff on there.
Also, yes.
Yes. But we'll actually be able to get a certificate from them.
Uh-huh.
Like-
And there's a badge that they'll send us the file for that we can put on our website and social media stuff. So, there's other things going to be added to our social media stuff sometime soon, but that's still secret.
Secrets.
Secret.
Shatner. Secrets.
What?
There's an old Conan bit.
Yes,
it was always like Goldblum. Secrets. It's like, are you Jeff Goldblum? Why are you talking to me?
Yeah.
What?
It's great.
That's
It's great.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always them like in a room, like smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Speaking of like weird sketch comedy type stuff, did we ever talk on the show about the sketch with Will Ferrell as the heckler to the Journey song?
Maybe. I have definitely watched and seen that fairly recently, but I don't know if we talked about that.
So whose show was that? Was that also Conan?
That was
No, Jimmy Fallon.
Fallon, that's right.
That was Tonight Show.
Yeah.
On the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So for those of you who are unaware, there's a hilarious sketch thing where Will Ferrell is a heckler heckling the guy who is in the sketch is the original writer of Don't Stop Believing.
Yes.
Yes.
But Jimmy Fallon sings the entirety
Of the
Don't Stop
song.
Believin',
Yep.
with Will Ferrell heckling him the entire time from the audience.
Yeah.
And heckling as in asking him questions that he then answers in the song.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Where's the train going?
It's going no.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, that's good to know.
Are there streetlights?
Yeah, what happened to the streetlights? Bring them back.
What about people?
oh, there's people too? Good to know.
Great.
Yeah. So it's a hilarious sketch. But the entire point of me bringing this up is that Megan and I went away for the weekend. We went out camping in the mountains for kind of a 5-year anniversary getaway weekend thing. We're driving through the mountains, and she has like this classic rock playlist on. And that song came on, and I had to change it because I could no longer take the actual song seriously thanks to that sketch.
Yep.
Like, it is just permanently embedded in my brain. Will Ferrell yelling things about that song during the song. It's great. Fantastic sketch.
Indeed.
So, anyway, moving on from that.
Indeed.
What have we been playing? Jeff, what have you been playing? Have you done any board gaming, or are you still anti-board gaming?
I've played the Blood Bowl, and I've played our review game a bunch, but there was no real other board gaming to be had. I did play a ton of the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds April Fool's event, I guess. It was only around for 2 days. It was like April, it was like the 31st and the 1st. It was like a 4-player squad. It was on the new map, but there was a new weapon added to the maps. It was a flare gun. The flare gun, you would shoot it straight up in the air. It would make a big explosion that literally everyone could see. And then a C-130 would come and drop you like a super crate, like twice as many like fancy loot items as would be on the regular crates that drop. And it was basically a big beacon of like, come and murder in this one location and get amazing loot. And there would be a bunch of these flare guns going off like the whole game. And it would just be like swarming people to like fight over these flare guns, and people would drop in weird areas because
pistols were because it replaced a pistol, basically.
Yeah. And where pistol spawns were common, you would want to drop in because it could just be a flare gun at any of those spawns. And so it was interesting.
So did the flare gun only shoot at the, like if you shot it, it just automatically shot in the air, or could you actually shoot somebody in the face with the flare gun?
You might have been able to.
We wouldn't know. We never actually found one.
I found 2 once, and then we were all immediately murdered.
Yeah.
So we have no idea what happened.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say there was a guy who had an AK and a micro Uzi who just finished killing Jeff, and all I had was my fists, and I was like, all right, let's do this. And I killed him.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
I think you were able to pick me up, too.
Yes.
I shot him.
Yeah,
I shot him before you punched him.
You did, but I killed him. I knocked him out. Straight dead, and both of us had a very sliver of health left.
The most smallest of slivers.
Yeah.
I had a lot of good runs. I despise playing with random people in that game.
100%.
It sucks.
Because usually if you're playing with like...
Hashtag the worst.
Hashtag the worst.
Even if you're playing with like 3 people in squads, you can always be like, I want to do a 3-man squad. You can do a 1-man squad and you can face against...
1 versus 4.
Yeah, 1 versus 4 if you want. But we usually do, if we have 3 people, we just do 3 squad, because
not to have a random
person, because what the fuck ever.
Yes.
But this one, it didn't give you that option.
No.
And it was getting really annoying having to
talk with a random.
Yeah, talk with random people that usually just run off and do their own shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's over now.
Yeah.
Right on. Zach, what about you? What have you been playing game-wise lately, besides apparently some also PUBG?
Yeah. So a little while ago, one of our mutual friends started playing a game called Slay the Spire.
Okay.
Which I eventually broke down and bought because I just kept seeing people on it and kept hearing great things. And it's basically a roguelike with deck building.
Okay.
Because you're climbing up this tower and you're fighting monsters and having encounters and stuff. And you have a deck that gives you, attacks and blocks, and you have enemies that can attack you, but you get to see how much they're attacking you. So you can be like, if I put up enough block, then they're not going to do damage to me, but then how much damage you're going to do to them. And it's just trying to kill them before they kill you. And you get, every time you kill a monster or you kill a group of enemies, you get an extra card to add to your deck. And you basically get to customize what kind of deck you want to do. So it really does have this deck building mechanic in a game. I think it does really well.
Okay.
I also purchased it. I did not love it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, whatever. There's
Yeah.
like a million buffs, and I don't really know what any of these do.
Yeah.
And like everything that does stuff, you always have to read like all the text. It's like, what's vulnerability versus weak versus whatever. But as you build your deck up more and more, you kind of understand how the mechanics work, and then you're like, oh, all right, I can see this.
And if you've ever played Binding of Isaac or anything like that, it's each round can go very differently, especially because it has a bunch of relics, which are like little buffs that you get.
Permanent buffs.
That it's like, one of them's like every time you end a round and you have no block, you just get 6 block. And so you're like, oh, sweet, that's good. Or at the anytime you add a poison to somebody, you get to add an additional poison.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a difficult game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't play with the first guy, because there's 2 guys right now, a more warrior type and then a more roguish type.
Yeah. Poisony.
Yeah, poisony and stuff. It's a lot of fun. People should, especially because right now it's in early access.
Yeah.
So it's cheaper.
I got it for like $10 on the Humble
exactly.
store. Definitely worth $10.
And
Okay.
every day they have a just a daily run that's very specific on one thing. Like this last one, which was super fucked up, was because usually your deck of cards is 10 or 12 to start with. This one was you got just a random assortment of 50 cards.
Jesus.
You could never remove a card.
Uh-huh.
And whenever you added a card, you added 3 copies of that card into your deck
So you had a deck of 50
to start with, and it would quickly go up, and it was just all about trying to manage whatever bullshit these specific things have.
All right.
So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So aside from that, have you played board games?
Well, I haven't really been playing many board games, so I played more of the Mind.
Besides Rising Sun.
Yeah, besides Rising Sun. All right, so I did play Paperback, and this was probably the 2nd or 3rd time that I've played it.
Yeah.
It's a deck builder. You're trying to build words,
Correct.
and then whoever gets the most points.
I like words.
Yeah, I still don't like this game. I think it's just I don't like word games that much.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and
Have you played Hardback?
yes,
Okay.
I
Do
think
you have a
I like that
preference?
one a little bit better just because it felt more gamey, but it was also longer.
Okay.
And it wasn't about making the biggest words. It was about like getting points. I'd have to play that one again to double check, and I'm sure at some point we do like Paperback versus Hardback.
Yeah, I can see
But-
us doing that.
I just every time I play one of those, I'm just like, ugh, finally. Especially just because like one, if people know more words than you, a little bit of a bigger advantage, but also just kept getting dealt shitty words
Yeah.
that I'd have. Like at least 3 times, I got dealt a hand that I had no vowels in.
That sucks.
Yeah, and I had no wilds either. So that's one thing I really like that Hardback does that Paperback doesn't. Hardback is any card can be a wild.
Yeah.
So you can always make some word. That like that one, it's just you either get your wilds or you don't.
Fair enough.
So yeah.
Right on. And then you said you'd been playing a bunch of the Mind?
Yeah. We ended up winning the 3-player version of it.
Yes, you, me, and
Yeah.
Kaiser.
Yes.
You, me, and the Hater.
Yeah. That was rough. Because I think like at that point we just had 1 life left, right?
Yeah, we were down to like 1 shuriken, and I think in the final round we had 2 lives and 1 shuriken at the start of it. So it was like, well, we can like one time get
Mhm.
rid of some cards, and we can mess up 1 time, and that's it.
Yep.
And then I think we didn't use any of them that
No,
round.
we did.
Actually, oh, did we?
We did. We ended up I remember it came down to we just had 1 life left, and then that was it.
Okay.
I also played another game where I lost 3 life in 1 round.
Ouch.
And it was like the 4th or 5th round.
so you'd gotten an extra life, so you didn't lose from that?
No, we lost on that
Oh,
one.
okay.
We were playing with 3 or 4 people. I don't remember, but people kept playing cards the wrong way, and it just didn't work out well. So.
Yeah. There was a couple instances of that in some of the games we played where, you'd go to play a card and somebody'd like Twitch.
Yeah.
And you just like, nope, putting it back. You play. And then the card they play is like 10 higher than the card you
Yeah.
had. And it's like, we're really screwing this
Yeah.
up. Like, all right, guys, we got to focus.
Mm-hmm.
Get back on the same page. So, super like that game.
Yeah.
It's really hard to describe to people.
It's still the worst game for trying to tell someone why it's a good game, though.
Yeah.
Just you gotta play cards in an order number.
Yeah. That's
Number order?
that's the game. And it's just,
That's it.
That's
all there is to it.
Yeah.
Hesitation, the game.
Yeah. Hesitation,
Also-
twitches, and
Also, you can't talk or
Nope.
communicate in any way.
yes, exactly.
Which
yeah.
we probably technically tweak that a little bit. Like we're pushing the bounds of not communicating, given some of the
The game would be far worse.
I mean,
with-
really,
Just everyone go in their little black box. All they can see is the pile.
there's no quantifiable thing that we do.
yeah.
It's not like we don't do any sort of signals of like I'm twitching. Be like,
It's not you've got crabs.
True.
yeah.
True,
But I
true.
mean, it's also like if I'm putting my card, like you're like, I will say sometimes we'll be like, if you're on 20 and then the rest of my cards are 90s, on occasion I'll just be like, I'm just putting my cards on because I don't give a shit right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but I mean, it's not like, I don't know.
Yeah, it like I said, we tiptoe right up to that
Yes,
line of
I would
no
agree with that.
communication. But
We never do like, any sort of thing to try and say what numbers
we don't
have.
game the system.
Start holding up fingers.
Yeah. No, that's completely fine. That's exactly what
Oh,
we
okay.
do. Yeah. Just 4 and then 5.
Yeah, you have to you hold one card in your left hand with some amount of fingers, and then your right hand, and then somehow they add up to what the card.
Yeah,
is.
but the numbers we're using are different bases. So it's like some of us are using base 6, some are 10, some are 12.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets confusing is you have to
Right.
remember which ones the people are doing.
It's all about the mind, man.
Yes.
The only other game I really have played, so at game night, I got to try Tulip Bubble, which I did really bad at. So Tulip Bubble is a stock, like investing game, kind of, where it takes place during the Tulip Bubble, which was a real thing that happened in the Netherlands where people got really obsessed with tulips.
And
The
different
prices-
colors and
Yeah,
crazy shit.
And the prices skyrocketed, and then eventually the bottom fell out, and everybody lost their money. So in this game, you're different like nobles in that time period investing in different tulips and trying to like grow your collection that you can trade into collectors to get money. And ultimately, at the end of the game, the only thing that matters is who has the most money. I did terribly. I got way too invested in one specific tulip whose price tanked to where I could never actually get any money to buy other tulips.
Now you've learned your lesson,
But
you will die poor and hungry.
yes, I really want to play it again, especially because, well, for one, I played really badly. And so I want to play it again because I think I could actually play better. And then we also had a little bit of an issue where, like, at the start of the second round of the game, 2 of the people we taught who were new to game night that week, they were like, oh, we're actually going to go. That's okay, right? That doesn't, like, ruin the game or anything, right? It was like, God damn it. Yeah, like, yes, it does, but fine. Like, we're not going to keep you here if you don't want to play. And so then we had 2 other people who were interested in the game jump in their seats, and it was like, hey, sorry, they may not have made the best decisions because they're pretty new, but enjoy. And so we just kind of went from there. So that kind of messed the game up a little bit, but not too much. I feel like I got a pretty good feeling for it. And like I said, I definitely want to play some more. And then the only other thing that I've got to play is on Megan and I's little on Megan and I's little excursion, we played another 2-player game of Terraforming Mars, and it has become the new trend in Terraforming Mars where at the start of the game, Megan goes, this is the time I'm going to beat you senseless. And halfway through the game, I'm like, holy shit, you're beating me senseless. And then at the end of the game, I win by 5 points. So
That's Terraforming Mars.
yeah, that trend has continued. This was another one of the weird games, kind of like the game that we were talking about a couple weeks ago with you, me, and Paul, Zach, where Megan ended up getting all of the awards, and I got all 3 milestones.
So
it just
nothing.
washed.
Okay,
yeah. But it was just kind of interesting to see like the way that things played out in that particular game. I was nowhere near any of the milestones. And she got all those, and as soon as she started getting those, I was like, all right, crap, I need to pick some awards and like start going for those to kind of neutralize a little bit. Yeah, really enjoying it as a 2-player game, which is surprising because I hadn't heard great things about it as a 2-player game, but it seems to work just fine for us. So we can knock it out in about like an hour and a half, which is great. So been playing a lot of Terraforming Mars lately. But
Speaking of Terraforming Mars, how was your April Fool's, Adrian?
I fell hard for Stronghold's Fields of Mars,
Uh-huh.
which was a Terraforming Mars Field of Green collaboration standalone April Fool's tweet. For some reason, that seemed totally reasonable to me.
The box cover was great.
Yes, it was.
It was just a dude in a spacesuit on a tractor
with a goose.
Yeah.
Weird space Mars gooses, though.
Yeah.
I still don't. I just love. It was on Sunday. I come in there. I come to your place because we're gonna play Rising Sun, and you're just like,
oh, did you see the new Terraforming Mars standalone
game? And I remember seeing that April Fool's things, and I was just like, all right, Adrian, what is it? And it was like fields, or is it fields of whatever, or
Fields of Mars.
Fields of Mars, and you're like, yeah, and I'm like, what's today?
What's today, Adrian?
Yeah, that was one of only 2 April Fool's things I really saw, because most of the day I was driving around in the mountains and didn't have signal. I did see one that didn't fool me at all, and that was Von Miller from the Denver Broncos tweeted something about getting traded to the Browns and how he's excited to go be a Brown. I was like, okay, Von Miller, shut up.
You can't be excited about this.
Yes, for one, you're far too excited for being traded to the Browns, and for 2, there's no way the Broncos are trading Von Miller anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
So that one I immediately knew for false. And then I saw the Stronghold one and fell for that one immediately. I saw after the fact, I saw some of the other board game ones that were going on, like Renegade Games miniature game line, that not games with minis in them, but miniature versions of all their games.
Oh yeah.
And that was fantastic.
I think it was Boulevard Brewing in Kansas City came up with I think it was like Turnt Ends or something like that, a new beer.
Okay.
But it was literally just barbecue sauce. And they're like, with this fine vinegar, ketchup, and spices in this delicious new brew. And it's them like literally out of this bottle, like pouring like barbecue sauce into a glass, and they got barbecue sauce all around their face.
I mean, it's still better than IPA. So.
They made an actual label for it. And I was like, man, they can totally afford to just make a fucking April Fool's label, can't they?
Yeah.
Of course they can. It's Boulevard.
Yep.
Speaking of that, I was disappointed in my venturings. I really wanted to stop into Eddie Line so I could be like, hey, I want to buy a beer from you guys because the company I work for is suing your faces off. But didn't actually get to make it into Eddie Line, unfortunately. Do you really like Eddie Line's beer?
That's true.
But anyway, we're getting off of the recent gaming stuff. So to get us back onto track.
Well, that's because we were talking about board gaming April Fool's jokes.
Yeah.
So,
but getting us back on track, Jeff, you said you played some Blood Bowl. So how about we do a bloody minute?
Indeed, I did. This was the second game of the season. I talked about Matt and I's game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So going into this, I had a 1-0 record, and I was playing against David and his Rodamals, which is his metal headliner named Nergal team, whose first game was against Ant, actually, losing 1-0 in that one. So he was coming off a loss into my game. Ant had done some damage to his team. His star Pestigore, who was the dude that picks up and moves his ball, was missed next game, thankfully. He also had a Rotter that was out, but he ended up taking a star player Chaos Warrior who has block because like 9 people on my team have block. He could have gone with some other characters, but one would have taken all of his inducements, but it also would have been Morgenthorg, who's like the best star player. He's 430,000 in his cost.
Jesus.
But he's move 6, strength 6, edge 3, armor 10. And he's got like block, mighty blow, loner, and something else ridiculous. Basically, he's the best player in the game. I, however, was next gaming my thrower, my guy that also picks up and moves the ball, due to one of Matt's bullshit actually breaking my armor and actually doing damage. So both of us weren't able to move the ball very well this game. I had some linemen in the backfield as I received the kick, who then failed to pick up the ball twice. And then on the third try, were able to pick up the ball and start moving it down the field by turn 3.
Oh, wow.
I was thankfully able to keep his guys on his side of the line. His armor is still pretty high, except for his Rotters, but I was still not getting very much luck against his guys, breaking their armor. Ended up ending the half at a wonderful 0-0 with, I don't think, any casualties or KOs. Yeah, not doing much against each other. I was kind of holding off against his Nergal warriors, who all have two of which have Mighty Blow and Claw. Claw is if he makes a block and knocks me down, my armor is then 7, which means he has to roll an 8 or more instead of rolling a 10 or more like he would normally have to. And with Mighty Blow, that means he only needs to roll a 7 or more, because he then turns that into an 8, which then will break. Thankfully, not much was going on with his claw, like usual, thankfully. I did end up knocking the Beast of Nergal down once, and I had a +4 on a foul, and I was like, the only character left is the ball carrier to try and foul the beast, and I was like, let's do it. With +5 to that armor roll, got a 3, nothing happened. Which sucks. But at least the ball carrier was not ejected. Second half, I kicked to him. He kind of has his guys up against the sideline. I'm able to kind of push one out of the way, and all I need is a go for it on a blitz with my blitzer with strip ball against his ball carrier. All he has to do is just get to him. It's a 1-die block. If I push, if I defender stumble, if I pow, basically I just can't skull. The ball will be out of his hands. I roll a 1 for the go for it, reroll 1, just falls down, as is tradition.
Jeff, yeah.
He then sprints his ball carrier in by himself into my backfield, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll murder this guy. I indeed do. Then my team is once again tries to pick up the ball and move it and pass it down the field. Need to use a reroll to get the pass. The pass goes onto his half of the field, and I double cage up the ball. Like, he is not getting close to that ball. His guys are so slow, they're not able to touch the ball. All I have to do for a guaranteed score, I have at least 4 turns to do this, is roll a 3+ on a 6-sided die. First turn.
So a 66% chance.
Yes. First turn. No. Drops it. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. I don't have any rerolls left at this point because I needed to use the rerolls to actually get the ball there.
I mean, that was the most important part. So no, it makes sense.
Because all I need is 3+. Yeah. You don't need to reroll for 3+.
No, of course not. It's better than 50-50, man.
So first turn, cage everything up. Drops the ball. All right. Keep his guys back. Still nowhere close to the ball. Trying to pick up the ball. Still have guaranteed score chance. There's no way he can catch me. Rolls a 2 again. Just drops that ball right on the ground.
Were you using the same dice the entire time?
Yes, I was. I'm not changing up dice because of that shit.
Fantastic.
Yep. Next time. All right. He's got a guy on the ball. That means I need a 4+, but I can just bash him off. No problem.
Right.
And I still got a 3+, and I can still cage around to where he can't touch me. Rolls a 2 again.
Yep.
Drops the third 3 fucking goes in a row. All right. Now I'm in trouble. And now I have to actually miracle plays. He's got dudes all over the ball. And then I basically to start, I need to dodge away and 2 and game over.
So you go to start the amazing thing and you immediately.
Oh yeah, immediately. I needed a lot of dice to be able to even pick up this ball on anything more than a 6. And because even in the previous play, I had gotten someone down the field to where even if I could pull off a miracle, I could pass it to that guy and then he could score. It was not
destined. No.
I think Ant had calculated up how many fails, failing a 3+, 4 turns in a row. It was a little bit less than 2% chance for that to happen.
And I want you to remind the people, if you didn't tell them, what was your team value over his team value?
460,000 valued more.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he gets inducements, so he got an extra reroll and a strength 5 block Mighty Blow Chaos Warrior.
But I mean, yours was so high that he could have in theory taken the highest cost inducement.
Yes.
In the game, right?
Yes. But this is because he also had a guy that was missed next game that was worth 150,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a missed next game. I mean, it still would have been a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I mean,
you held him to a 0-0.
Well, he gets inducements.
Uh-huh.
Like that Chaos Warrior is nothing to fucking shake a stick at.
I mean, I'll shake a stick at him. I'll die.
Yeah,
I'll
horribly.
Yeah.
I did end up taking a Miss Next Game Black Orc for my next game. So one of my main players will be out for my next game again.
Yep.
Which will be against Frank's Necro team, who has Moorclaw and werewolves and Frankensteins. And
You'll be fine.
we'll see. Ant still has to play him. Hopefully he smashes him real good. And then I hopefully will do better.
Gotcha.
This is my first 0-0 tie game.
Ever?
And that I can remember.
Right on.
What is this, soccer?
Seriously.
No injury time in this one, everyone.
So where are you roughly in the standings right now?
I mean, I'm first, but Ant and Frank still have to play their game this week. If they tie, I think I'm tied for first.
Okay.
But if one of them wins, then
Yeah, because it's 6 points for a win and 3 points for a tie. So
right now you're 3 points ahead.
Yeah, I'm 3 points ahead right now.
Okay.
But if I had won, I'd be at 12. But I am not that.
No.
I still have most casualties currently. I'm sitting at 5 casualties for the season so far.
Keep murdering, Jeff.
Just keep
murdering.
on keeping on.
Yep.
Frogs, easy to murder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ended up getting 4 casualties in that frog game.
Jesus.
I mean, maybe your orcs shouldn't be so terrified of just ugly guys. Apparently.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. David's team, you need to roll a 2+ on 5 of his guys to even try to hit them, and if you roll a 1, it's like I'm too scared.
Gross.
Ew, ew.
Because they have like rotting flesh and stuff.
Yeah, they're super gross. But that was effective for him for like 5 rolls.
Yeah.
Damn.
Which is a lot, and a lot of them were critical.
Especially on like a 2+. Like that you should hit that most of the time.
Yeah, and I was not hitting it. I wouldn't say my dice were terrible that game, but where it mattered, it did not hit the mark.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up Banter and what we've been playing nicely then.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can start moving on into some news and Kickstarters. Yeah?
Yes, indeed. The wide world of board game news this week, besides our wonderful article in Westward being the top news.
I mean, obviously it's the best.
Yes.
So that was number one.
Number one.
Now we're going
Other
everything
news,
Yeah, other
yeah.
news.
Other news.
This is also happening.
Yes. First up in news, Through the Ages is now full on PC on Steam.
Yeah, which I'm super excited about because I really think that Through the Ages, like one of the big problems I had with the one play I've had of it was just it felt like it drug on.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that was the tedium of managing the game itself. And so I'm excited to maybe actually be able to play a streamlined digital version. Plus the fact it's on Steam, I think will make it even more likely that I like get to play it versus the app. I don't know. I'm trying to decide which one I want to get. And like the news
Well, it's
that
currently
there's a
on
Steam version.
sale until tomorrow.
Yeah.
I.e. yesterday for the people hearing this.
Yes, so sorry.
But it's $10.
Yeah, it's not too expensive. It's also
Normally-
$10 on Android. And my plan for a long time, I've been saving up my credits on the Amazon Play Store from doing Google reward like surveys, hoping to get this for Android so I could play it with people. But now that it's on Steam, I don't know. I might just go for it on Steam. That might make more sense for me. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't decided yet.
Well, it was $10 on Steam, and now it's $16 on Steam.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've heard really good things about both the iOS and Android ports, and so I expect the Steam port to be also really well.
Really good.
Yeah, and all of them are compatible. So if you have both of them, you can start a game on your Android and then come home and load it up on your PC on your Steam account and finish it there. Which, man, I don't know if I can justify $20 though on 2 different digital copies of Through the Ages. But I do think it's really cool that they have that kind of compatibility that allows it to move from one to the other.
Crossplay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Next up in news, Z-Man Games has a fancy new game named Fae coming out.
And it's only fancy and new in terms of artwork, components, and name, because this is a revival of the 2003 Spiel des Jahres nominee Clans, which I have not played, so I don't know much about the game itself. But Z-Man is bringing it back, reimagining it in a mystic Celtic setting, and they're not changing any of the mechanics at all. They're just updating the art and production quality to more modern standards, which is, I think, kind of a cool thing to do, especially like if it's a game, coming, like being a 2003 nominee for Spiel des Jahres, like it probably feels pretty dated now from an art and components perspective. So updating it, I think is pretty cool. And the new artwork is fantastic. I do really like the artwork in this game.
Yeah, the old one is pretty old. As I was looking through images of it, the updated everything will definitely help this game, especially as it has a availability of not even remotely available. Probably been long out of print on this one. I think Amazon has it for about $100.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, now you can pre-order Fae, the new edition, basically, of Druids. So
not Druids.
Check
Clans.
Sorry, I was reading about it, and it talks about moving Druids around the board.
Indeed. They don't have a price on here, but I'm sure it does on the pre-order thing that you can't get to without signing in.
Real obnoxious. Luckily, I already have a Z-Man account, so
$40.
Okay.
Next up on news, Ninja Division is not doing Kickstarters anymore.
Indeed, they are not. They have
done a lot of them.
Yeah. So Ninja Division has done quite a few different Kickstarter projects. Their most recent one was the Starfinder Masterclass miniatures, and they seem to do a lot of miniatures-based stuff. They've worked a lot with like Soda Pop miniatures and stuff, which Jeff, your friend that we met at Gen Con, works for. Has worked with Soda Pop.
Yeah, he's done some of their Soda Pop's like their in-house creative division, and I guess they used to be two different entities, and then they sort of combined. Okay. But he's done some of their this is the fancy miniature that we have painted that will show in a magazine or on the back of the box or something like that. He's painted those. A lot of chibi miniatures that Soda Pop does.
Okay, cool. Well, anyhow, Ninja Division has announced they are going to start pulling back from Kickstarter. They weren't willing to go all the way and say they're done with Kickstarter entirely, but they said that they are not likely going to be using it for any more of their big projects. And this is all announced in an interview with ICV2 at Gamma. The interesting thing that they talk about is that they feel that Kickstarter has a risk where your eyes get bigger than what you're able to actually do, and so you offer too much and you let stretch goals and things kind of get away from you, and then when it comes time to actually produce and deliver, you run into problems. And then they mention also the toxicity of online stuff, which, good God, I can relate. Like having kind of the inside knowledge, like through Punchboard Media, like people like Chris Kirkman from Dice Hate Me, like he talks about like some of just the completely unwarranted vitriol. Like people just bitch about well-run campaigns all the time on Kickstarter stuff. And so I can totally get, Ninja Division wanting to shy away from some of that toxicity that comes with running any kind of crowdfunding campaign. Because all of a sudden, once you're doing crowdfunding, everybody feels like they have a say. I'm an investor and I have a say in how you do your project.
Which you're not.
You're not at all.
No.
And no, you don't have a say in how the project's run. Like, yes, a creator should potentially, at least have an ear to the ground, so to speak, towards like what people are saying and thinking.
Yes.
But just because they're paying attention to what the community kind of wants and the general vibes in the community does not mean that you as the individual get to demand
and it doesn't
things.
mean, they don't have to put up with bullshit.
Right. So, So, this continues. Several major ones like Stonemaier, famously moved away from Kickstarter after Scythe. So it'll be interesting to see going forward where some bigger or smaller companies may decide to stay away from that. I like how they mentioned that like they're big enough that they don't need Kickstarter really anymore. They say in one of the quotes, "We don't need to be out here with a hat in hand asking for huge development monies for a thing, because it's not a place where we need to be. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, their last Kickstarter looks really cool, but I think it funded October of last year.
Yeah.
Was when their last Kickstarter funded.
Which I'm curious if that means that they're starting to run into some of the issues fulfilling that massive miniature Kickstarter with all the stretch goals that made them go, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore.
Yeah, I know that Reaper Bones that Ant does every year has always run into that, and it's like Ant got his like 2.5 years late or something insane.
Oh yeah.
And that's a similar kind of Kickstarter where it's just a fuckload of just miniatures of like a whole different assortment.
And you know, and I don't want to come across like I'm totally against the individual people having a thing, because like they mentioned a little bit in this, you know, kind of the getting so big and having kind of overrun, and like, you know, you go to people and you're like, oh, something come up and there's a delay, and some people are great and some people get pissy. You know, at the same time, like I can also relate as a consumer, you know, like I just got notification earlier this week that Brass is now delayed until May, when I was expecting that in fucking February.
Yep.
And I can get the, you know, like you throw hundreds of dollars at these campaigns and then you don't get your product for over a year. Like that's like a huge interest-free loan. Like just here's my money to fund all of your production, all of everything that goes into this. Interest-free. And maybe I get a product, and it's still a gamble. I mean, like you can pick and choose, you know, and pay attention to who you're supporting, and that'll give you an idea. Like Simon is going to deliver. You know, I trust that Roxley is going to deliver Brass no matter how delayed it gets. But I can understand that frustration. So I don't know.
Yeah. I've only had so far just one board game that hasn't delivered yet. So
I've never had a board game not deliver, but
Many video games.
many video games.
I've
only had one, but I know that many do not.
Yeah, that seems way too risky.
Risky.
So anyhow,
Unless it's Iron Harvest, because that game's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Ninja Division leaving Kickstarter. So.
Indeed.
Next up on news.
Next up on news is Catch the Moon from the designers of The Grizzled.
Yeah, so Zach, you threw this one on here. It's basically kind of another dexterity game where the picture of it is fantastic because it's just a jumble of ladders that doesn't look like it should go together at all. And I don't know how you actually end up building that exact structure in this game.
They just
one at a time.
They just want to go talk to their friend Kenny. Deep South Park cut on that one.
Ladder to heaven. We should make a song about that.
Indeed.
Apparently there's 30 wooden ladders in it. Which, yeah, like it really just tells us like that there's like you're just trying to build a tower of ladders to reach the moon, but if it falls, then the moon's gonna shed a tear, apparently. So,
and there's 7 tiers in the game, so I think that might be the game clock.
Yeah. They might be like pieces dropping or something like that. But I'm pretty sure that ladder cannot reach the moon.
Indeed.
Correct.
Not just because it's woefully too short, but also it is not. I don't think anybody could climb that.
No.
No.
Like I said, it's just a jumble of
Yeah.
ladder pieces. I'm curious how the game will actually play.
Yeah.
But
It looks cool enough, at least.
stacking, balancing dex games are my jam. So
Yeah. And I love Gloomhaven, so I'll clearly love this game.
what?
Same theme. It's from the designers of. I was looking at Gloomhaven. I was thinking the Grizzled.
Thank you.
Definitely
Thank
said
you.
Gloomhaven.
I was confused.
I was looking at our next news story
Yeah.
and said that and not the Grizzled, which is a fantastic game
Mhm.
Yes.
about dying in World War I.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're imagining
Yeah, there
ladder
you
to
go.
the moon. You're like, I want to get away from this situation.
Fantastic.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's Catch the Moon. Keep an eye on it from Surfin' Meeple.
Next up on news, if you thought Gloomhaven was lacking content, like all
Said
of us
no one.
have,
I mean, we've already done it all, right, Jeff?
Yeah,
We've played like 5 scenarios.
Yeah,
That's all the game has.
We've played 5 times through. We've unlocked every box. We've had no life, but we just need to get that review out, and we need to see all the content,
Yeah.
right? But Gloomhaven is releasing an expansion, Forgotten Circles.
Now, I do want to preface this, like, this got announced, what, on the 31st?
Late on the 31st.
And-
Late on the 31st.
And Jeff first told us about this yesterday
On the 1st.
on the 1st. And I was like, Jeff, don't believe anything that comes out today. And he's like, oh, but it was announced yesterday. And I was like, okay. So it looks like it's actually going to be a thing.
It seems like it's coming out around Essen later this year. 20 new scenarios take place after the main story. So you complete the whole game and then you get the expansion. 7 new monster types, 3 new bosses, 14 new items, and a new character class, which I assume is whatever is on that front cover.
The Diviner.
But
also important to note, this will be available through normal retail channels. So no Kickstarter and then waiting and fighting through all that.
And they have said that the third print of Gloomhaven will not be a Kickstarter as well. That'll just come out like a regular old game.
Yeah. Well, they made enough on this second printing.
Yeah. Jesus. But yeah, Gloomhaven expansion coming out. Next up on news, the CIA has some board games that you can play now because of a Freedom of Information Act request.
Yeah.
I guess they're used as like in-house like training games.
There's at least 3. Something called Collection, Collection Deck, and then Kingpin: The Hunt for El Chapo. And these are made by the CIA to help the officers get up to scratch with their responsibilities before heading out into the field. And somebody heard about it, and then this guy Doug Palmer, a tech expert, was like, "Hey, there's this thing called the Freedom of Information Act, and you can request shit that isn't classified." They're like, "Hey, can we have that?" And they're like, "Fine."
Can we get these board games?
Yeah. So far, it's just been Collection and Kingpin. It has not been Collection Deck or
and Afghan Sustainability Coin Dynamics, which the way they actually put coin in there, that makes me wonder if it's actually at all based off of the coin game Counterintelligence, A Distant Plane, which takes place in Afghanistan and is all about the war on terror.
I do like it says because you can actually download the files, but it says both the rules and materials are low quality and confusing. After all, these aren't games designed to have a wide audience.
No.
So you have to put in some work to actually enjoy them, apparently.
And pages stamped with classified and crossed out top secret labels. Fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
Definitely. And so if you're interested in, checking those out, jump over to our show notes on myhighgameguys.com, where we'll have a link to this article, which then has links to the downloads for these games.
Yeah. And good luck.
Yeah.
That's it for news.
Indeed. That is all of the news that has ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Most important news still, Mile High Game Guys, Denver number 1 popular.
Denver number 1 popular.
Popular Denver number 1.
God damn it, Zach. Ruining everything.
Yeah. Is that how I said it for all time?
No.
How did I fuck it up over?
I don't. I so many different ways.
China. It was
China popular number 1.
China popular number 1.
Yeah.
Denver popular number 1.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Oh God. On to Kickstarters.
On to the wide world of Kickstarter. First up this week is Dreamscape. Well funded, 44,000 of its $10,000 goal, over 850 backers, but about 2 weeks left to back this one, which you can for about $55.
So Dreamscape is a new game from Silex, which is this is their first created game based out of Paris. It is a 2 to 4 player game that takes 20 minutes per player, where you are essentially building these dreams. And so over the course of 5 rounds, you're going to be collecting dream shards, which are little tokens that represent different landscapes. Like a green one would be like a grassy field, a blue one would be water, brown would be dirt, things like that. And then you use those to build out the shape of the landscape that you're going to be moving through as the dreamer, looking for enjoyable viewpoints where you see pretty things and interesting constructions. And most of that's going to be guided by these dream cards that kind of tell you what you should be building and how it should look, and then you build it. So most of the collecting of those shards is done during the travel phase, where you're going to move through the dream world, collecting shards with some caveats about which shard you can actually collect, and then depending on what shard you pick up might let you do something else, like move to a different area and collect a shard there as well. But you get to do 5 actions during that travel phase, moving through and collecting your shards. Then in the base game, you move on to the creation phase, which is then where you place those shards and kind of build your dreamscape. And then as you do all this, you're going to score slumber points. So like each time you climb on a mountain or swim in a river, you get points for your dreamer admiring those things. And then at the end of the game, you'll score goals that you had for like how to build your dreamscape and like what things to do. And then whoever has the most points wins. There's also an advanced variant that you can throw in a nightmare phase where
Mr. Nightmare
moves around and leaves nightmare shards that can fuck with your ability to make pleasant dreams.
And that's Mr. Nightmare is a skull with a top hat.
Yes.
I want to get off Mr. Bones' wild ride.
It's only like 2 more years, Jeff, and then it's fine.
Then you're just right back on Mr. Bones' wild ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the other things I think is kind of cool about this is like
it's free.
Jesus. As you're building these landscapes, like they're not just like placing the discs in a 2D plane. Like you actually stack. So like some of them you want stacked in to make certain things. So you could actually have a bridge that goes up and over a river for your little dreamer to move along.
Okay.
And so it has kind of a 3D puzzly aspect, which sounds kind of cool. There's also like different powers and things that can affect things and a whole bunch of different, stuff like that. And then the other thing that definitely needs to be mentioned with this campaign is how fantastic this artwork is.
Art's really good.
It is really, really great art. I can't find anywhere on the Kickstarter, though, who did the art, so I can't even give credit to the fantastic
Quick,
artist.
claim it.
I did this.
I did this.
See, now I'm just thinking of that comic where it's like, you made this?
Yeah, this is mine.
I made this.
David Auslos?
I have not heard of David Oslos. His art is very good. I approve.
Quick, just say that's your Christian name, and then
Nailed it.
Yeah. So check that out if that sounds interesting to you, and you want to game us some cool art about doing dream stuff and Mr. Bones' wild ride. You can do that. There's even a custom model that will be unlocked at 18,000 euros, which has been surpassed. So there's a
You'll get Mr. Nightmare.
Yeah, the mini thing. Not quite mini. Custom model.
Meeple.
Yeah.
Top hat skeleton meeple.
Yeah. Go check it out.
Yeah. Next up on Kickstarter is Imperius. Another well-funded one. $41,000 of its $10,000 goal, over 1,000 backers, but this one's got a little bit less than 2 weeks left to go, which you can back for a mere $25.
So I wanted to throw Imperius on here to talk about it. This is from Grant Rodiak and published by Colossal Games. And this is a tighter, more streamlined version of one of his previous Kickstarters, Solstice, which I have. And it's a drafting and deception game for 2 to 4 players. And basically, like, he did that one kind of essentially on his own. Through Hyperbole Games, his publishing company that I think he has since closed down. I don't think he really does Hyperbole Games anymore. But he'd gotten a chance to meet with some of the people from Colossal, and they really liked the game, and they agreed that there needed to be some changes. He liked the suggestions they had for changing it, and they got to work on it. And the result is Imperius, which is now coming out. It is still a 2 to 4 player card drafting, intrigue, hidden information game. Plays 20 to 45 minutes. They definitely changed up the art style, which is probably my least favorite part about this. I really like the old art style from Solstice, but I'm very interested in seeing what the game can be with a little bit tightened up rules and some actual oomph behind it, because although I really like a lot of Grant's designs, I've backed like 3 of his Kickstarters now. You could definitely tell that they're ones that he's designed and published himself.
They have a lot of woodcut pieces and stuff like that.
Which he never sent us the special woodcut pieces for Druids after our review. But that's neither here nor there.
Exactly. Not here. It might still be there. We don't know that.
Maybe. Grant, where are they?
Yeah, I looking through some of the old art, it does. I do like this art.
The new art?
No, the Solstice.
Oh yeah, no, Solstice's art was fantastic.
Well, usually you're just like, I'm
I
always...
can appreciate good art. I just don't care about good art when it comes to an actual board game.
No, I understand that, but you also can't appreciate good art. So
What? Shut up.
Oof.
Shots fired.
yeah.
Anyhow,
But I did. It did. The old one did look good.
yes,
I will say that. So
I do like the price point on this one because you can get the base game and both expansions for only $33.
that's a good
Indeed. And the expansions are new. They were not in
Yes.
the original one. And so those add even more events and planets and elders as you kind of fight for control.
I really like the expansion box art. It looks like really old, like sci-fi novel. Like
Yeah, I would say that's almost like kind of the entire art style for this one, which I can appreciate. Like, and if I had never seen Solstice and didn't know this was like coming from Solstice,
seems like
I'd
a
be
late
super jazzed for this art style.
for this sweet late '80s like sci-fi book no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, like these, they really do look like great old sci-fi novels, which I'm a huge fan of.
Space Vikings.
So yeah, if you've either heard of Solstice, and you liked it and you want the newer, cleaner, tightened version, or this is the first you've heard of it, and a less than an hour long 2 to 4 player drafting hidden information game sounds interesting
For a low entry cost.
yes, then go check those out.
What kind of game is it? Because I don't know if you ever said that.
Shut up, Jeff.
All right.
Son of a bitch.
Next up in Kickstarter is Sweet Mess. Mostly funded.
mostly funded.
Mostly funded. 54,000 of its $30,000 goal, over 660 backers. 2 weeks left to go on this one, which you can back for $49.
So this is the most recent Kickstarter from Big Games, and it is a game about making cakes. And so it's kind of an action selection game with really cool components from game trays.
As always, their inserts are killer.
Yeah.
So in this one, like, you have 4 actions and you choose which order you do them, but you have to do all 4 before they clear. And they're going to determine how you get ingredients. So like one of them is like you very carefully reach and grab an ingredient. And so you get just what's on that spot. One of the other ones is like a messy version where like you're in a big hurry. So you smack your hand out there and like some of, you're grabbing butter. And so some of that butter splashes onto adjacent like ingredient piles. So the next person to take from those piles gets that ingredient and also some butter. So
Okay.
and so it's supposed to be like a bunch of different like bakers in this common ingredient pool grabbing all these different ingredients.
Is it real time?
No, it's like, so if you're grabbing like 3 different ingredients, but there's chocolate underneath, the chocolate will flip and then chocolate will spread to the other, like up, down, left, right.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like you're actually.
Yeah, that's. I thought the small discs were just flying off, and I was like, "What the hell kind of game is?" You literally, you'd like slap your hand on the table and be like, "Anything that sticks is yours."
No, much more structured than that.
That makes more sense now.
There is a
And that is
speed
pretty cool. I
component
like-
because there is like a 2-minute timer that's in the game that like limits some of your turns. So there is a speed component to trying to make your decisions and like what you're going for.
I do have to say, these are the best game trays I have ever seen.
Well,
the components in this are fantastic.
especially because every player has like their player board is a game tray, and it's not only it's like double layered with all these extra things and like things that are like flipping over to. It's very much part of the gameplay experience.
Yeah, they have a little like your bench tools thing. It's a little piece. It's got a part where it has kind of like the double layer where you can put a cube in, but you can flip it over to be like, oh, I can't put a cube here, but then you flip it back.
Yeah, there's an X to show that you can't put it there.
Yep.
And whereas if it's not and it has the circle, the cube fits in there, like it actually slots down into it.
A recessed cube area.
Yes.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it is. And
and then after you've gotten the right amount of ingredients, you can start baking things, and then when you bake them, you get bonuses based on what you've previously baked. And I don't know,
it looks cool.
It sounds like a cool game, and the components are just bonkers.
Right.
It's kind of nuts how much Game Trace has like taken off since like their early Terraforming Mars. Like
they had other stuff, but I think Terraforming Mars may have made them the most money.
I could see that.
Yeah. Now I just need to get the rest of the things that work with game trays and Terraforming Mars, which is another like $60.
Yep.
Then I've only spent like $120 on inserts for Terraforming Mars alone.
So that means you've spent
$200.
$200 on the game.
$200 on Terraforming Mars.
Cool. Still worth it.
Totally worth it. And sleeves.
And sleeves.
I need to buy more sleeves now. Expansions.
Indeed. I need to sleeve my copy.
Highly
Especially now that I'm playing the shit out of it. Anyway, that's not anything about this. So, but yeah, the Sweet Mess seems like a pretty awesome game with some really great components. They also, because they funded in 7 days, they have solo and team play co-op modes designed by Jonathan Gilmour, who did like Dinosaur Island, Dead of Winter, and a bunch of other great games. So, multiple modes for playing this game.
Gotcha.
Which is always nice to see in a game.
And they do have some higher tiers that you can do that add, I think there's 4 different expansions. And then they'll have like a cool little play mat that you can have with the game.
Yeah, the components pretty top notch in this game. Hopefully, it looks like it could match up to that.
Hopefully. There's no real like, hey, these are physical things that exist pictures, but yeah. I mean, it's what their like 7th Kickstarter, so that's always good news.
Yeah.
Right on. Next up
on Kickstarter is Railroad Rivals. Well-funded, $41,000 of its $30,000 goal, 874 backers, but this one's only got a little bit less than a week to go, and you can play this one for $39.
Yeah. So this is a tile drafting game where you're building railroads.
It's a train game, guys. Look out.
Yeah.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo. Mother trucker.
So tile drafting, and as you draft these tiles, you're drafting both track tiles and stock tiles. And
oh god, it's got stocks?
It has stocks.
Of course, it's a train game.
And so depending on how you match up the different city tiles, they will, if you match the right sides together, then it'll connect to an actual train that existed, and you'll get credit for like that piece of track. And then you can ship goods along the different city tiles. And if you use your track, hooray, you get to do it for free. If you use other people's tracks, you have to pay them. And then depending on what trains actually moved the goods, stocks will adjust accordingly. And then ultimately at the end of the game, whoever has the highest stock value in their portfolio is the winner. So, yeah, I'm super excited because I'm always down for a good stock portfolio management train game. Especially one like this one, 1 to 5 players, 45 to 60 minutes. Considering most good train games take well over 1 hour, even having a 1 hour train game interests me.
Well worth it.
More of that stuff I could play at game night that still gives me some of the same things I look for.
I do like that they have a $999 pledge, which I believe was taken. Yeah.
Well, there is one backer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not limited.
Oh, it's not limited?
No.
Well, the first game off the production line. I feel like that's limited.
Numbered number 1 and signed. Yeah, it's probably only one person.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't actually limit it, so I guess somebody else, like, it's still selectable.
Yes.
But you also get your picture put into the game from Disney artist Mark Page, which I don't know what he's actually done for Disney, so maybe something
he
cool?
draws doodles for like Disney people in work. Yeah, it's not. He's never actually and they're all like, "Man, your art sucks."
Yeah. I do like that for $60 you can get the premium wood tile version, which is tempting. But
instead of the linen tiles,
yeah,
or linen finish on the cardboard tiles,
shipping not included on this one. So
what's the tycoon version?
1 copy of each version of the game, so that's both. The cardboard and the wood version.
Oh yeah, okay.
So yeah, you get a $10 discount if you get both of them.
I think he's an artist that does Disney themed art and not an artist for Disney.
Yeah.
I don't know though.
You get a $19 discount, Adrian.
His stuff looks real good.
You are correct, Zach. My math is bad.
Yes, it is.
Your counting is bad.
Yeah, right here, Golden Spike, limit 1.
They should have actually limited it to 1 of 1, because now I want multiple people to back the Golden Spike and just watch them try and sort that mess out.
They just need
they would obviously
tiers.
be like, this person you were not the first person to do it.
998, 997. That's number 2. That's number 3. They can be making thousands of dollars here.
Clearly.
Yeah.
You get $1 off for every number print run.
Sweet. So when it gets down to 1,000, I can get them for $1.
No, you'd get -1. So really, they're giving you 9.
Yeah, there you go.
No, yeah, you can get it for $1.
$1, Bob.
But
I'll just wait for number 10,000 to be printed.
yeah, we'll see if that happens.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Railroad Rivals. Looks like a cool little file drafting and track laying game. Trains and stocks, my favorite.
The best.
Next up
on Kickstarter is one that's not like out yet or something.
Well, it is.
It'll
if
be
you're
out.
listening to this.
Yes.
But no hot details. Fireball Island from Restoration Games is currently live as you're listening to this.
Yes. It goes live tomorrow from recording date.
Tuesday.
It goes live on Tuesday the 3rd.
Yes. And we have here a link to a preview of the Kickstarter. So we're actually getting to see all of the shit that they've got going on in this.
Yes.
That we've been hearing about slowly building over the last few months, getting that hype train moving.
You can pledge this one for $60 or $130 with all of the expansions. And I'm sure it's made a lot of money by the time you hear this.
Do you want any guesses on how much you think it's going to make?
$250,000 goal. I bet within 24 hours it is at over
100,000?
Over 500,000 in the first 24 hours.
I don't know enough about Fireball Island.
It's stupidly popular. One, because it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Two, Restoration Games has been doing a fantastic job of building hype. And holy crap, it's like a fucking island in a box.
It looks amazing.
Yeah. Easily 500,000 in the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if this finishes over $1 million.
Especially
I expect it to.
with that $130 pledge level.
Yeah.
So, Fireball Island, for those of you who are not aware, is an old like 80s board game that is all about little moving pieces and things.
Marbles,
and Restoration Games, whose entire thing is taking these old games that were popular and kind of fun
and restoring them.
Yeah, bringing them into the modern times, maybe tweaking some of the mechanics to make them actually a game and not like a
roll and
1980s
move
gimmick.
Yeah.
And so Fireball Island is the latest of those. It is a 2 to 4 player game, 5 players with the expansion, and plays 30 to 60 minutes. And this is their #1 most requested game to bring back.
Oh, I'm sure.
They asked people what they want, and this was far and away their #1. So it's officially called Fireball Island: The Curse of Volcar, which I think might be the name of the island.
Yeah, I think so.
name of the volcano.
Yeah.
So they
So it looks like one of the main changes they made is like the first one is like there was just a track that the marble rolled down. If you were caught on the track when it rolled, you would get screwed. This one, it has multiple paths where the marbles can go. And so, you're taking a risk going into certain spots, but that doesn't mean you're going to necessarily be hit.
Yes.
And it looks like the game has you have a lot more agency in and decisions that you can make in the game.
Indeed. I do really like that on the Kickstarter they have a big warning. The following clips of the prototype game board have not been approved by Volcar for viewing. Watch at your own risk, as this game board is still in testing and glossier than the final intent.
That is a very, very shiny board.
Shiny board. So,
do not put this in direct sunlight. You may be blinded. It might also melt.
Yeah. So they point out here, and this is one of the things that I really appreciate. While fireballs are unpredictable, we made sure that players have more control over their actions and more meaningful choices, which I'm a big fan of meaningful choices in board games. So I really like that they kind of made that a thing where, they show here 2 like different demo cards. Run with a bunch of exclamation points. Move 10. You cannot pick up any treasure while moving, but you can still steal the heart. And then like Flame Geyser, move 8. After moving, launch an Ember Marble. So I think that's pretty cool. The ultimate goal of the game is to move around the island, collecting different treasures and resources, and ultimately grabbing a snapshot from each part of the island. There are, I believe, 6 parts of the island, and then you have to get back to the helipad to get away. And that is the ultimate goal.
It seems like the expansions, it's like $25 for the first expansion, adds a 5th player, unique player powers, a poison marbles, a giant boulder, and then like a sort of Indiana Jones dude, and then more cards, of course.
Out of all of them, that one seems to be the most like,
here's more.
Yeah, here's more, but like player powers and stuff, it seems like here's to make it even more of a game and stuff like that.
But for $25? The other expansion's $40, but it adds a new part to the game, a new like pirate ship, that you add on to the game, which is a whole new island.
It has a cannon that can shoot off and hit people.
Yeah, flings marbles across. And a crow's nest that's full of marbles that can also collapse and just drop them everywhere.
And then more action cards, like being able to steal treasures from other people. So player interaction.
Ooh.
And then Crouching Tiger, Hidden Bees.
Bees?
Bees?
And then this one looks like you can like flick a tiger to pounce on other players, and then have like little tiny bee swarm marbles through the volcano that just
sting people and stuff like that.
And cause them to limp, which I'm assuming just means it slows down their movement.
Yeah. That's a lot of shit.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of stuff in stretch goals. My favorite, like, so they have like the souvenir cards that you're getting. There's going to be a lot of them, including, and like these are all like theme park esque, or just like related things. T-shirt cannons, selfie sticks, foam fingers, vuvuzelas, which I hope that in the game there's a way to just kill yourself if those come out, because fuck all of those.
Yes, just immediately lose.
Yeah. And then apparently there's going to be an app for it if this reaches 500,000, which you think it'll reach in one day.
Probably. And whatever a custom Fireball Island font is, are they going to hire someone to create a font for the game?
Yeah, I would assume so.
Okay.
Maybe they'll get...
I wonder if it's that font that they're already...
I guess.
I think, judging by the way that's like, I don't know.
Some sort of font. I don't know what that means.
Which wouldn't it really be a typeface?
Yeah.
I don't actually know many of the differences between typeface and font. Anyhow.
There will be shipping too at the end of it. $15 because that's a lot of plastic that you're gonna have to move around.
They're not coming. They're doing a Fireball Island tour, and I actually did put Denver on the map for this.
Yeah.
They're not coming to Denver.
I know. I saw that, and I was like, boo.
They're doing 2 different ones in Chicago. Granted, it's on the same day. They're also doing St. Louis. They don't really get very west at all.
No.
Like, Texas is the furthest west they get, which is not ideal.
It's a little far away.
Yep.
I was like, is there anything that's close by?
St. Louis, 10-hour drive.
Yeah, no. Not for...
And not in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, no. But I'm definitely interested in this game.
13 states, including a stop in Canada at Snakes and Lattes in Toronto.
I've heard of that place.
Yes, most people have.
And I do like that you can just pledge the base one and then add individual expansions. So you can be like, oh, I want to get that first one, but I don't want to get, I want to have to spend a bunch of money to get others.
Yeah.
Or if you just want the pirate or something like that. It's always good when they let you do that.
Yep. So right on. That's Fireball Island. A little bit of a preview there. This is, like I said, this is still a preview link for the Kickstarter. I don't think there will be much that will change between now and tomorrow night when it launches. So for those of you who are listening to this, you can check that out and see how wonderful it is done on the episode release day. So,
and that's it for Kickstarters this week.
Indeed, it for Kickstarters. So. Right on. Well, now that we've finished up news and Kickstarters, we can move on to some listener feedback and episode wrap-up type stuff, starting with emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com. If you would like to send us an email about stuff. This one comes from Jake, titled Emu. It's 11:54, so technically still an April Fool's. Here's an emu.
It's a GIF.
It's a GIF of a baby emu running across a living room, and it's very cute.
It's ridiculously adorable.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure out some way. Maybe Slack. Share this on Slack.
I can just, it's 4 seconds. You can just watch it over and over.
It is the most adorable thing I've ever seen from an emu. Normally they're just
They're
normally
terraforming Mars.
terrifying giant birds.
I mean, they're not the most terrifying giant birds.
They are the second largest terrifying birds.
What, ostriches are bigger?
No,
Ostriches are bigger.
Caraways or whatever.
Caraways are the
most
scariest.
Yes.
Because
Hands down, they are like fuck everything.
They are like modern velociraptors.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
They are. They got claws and they will fuck you up. They're not as big as an ostrich or an emu, but they are far more aggressive and
like think of they are as aggressive as Gandhi is likely to throw a nuke.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's they are quite fucked up.
I mean, even look at their heads. Like it's a goddamn dinosaur face. If I've ever seen one.
No, it looks like yes. So the head itself is very dinosaur. The neck is turkey, which is also one of the meanest birds on the planet.
That's true.
So, yeah, no, clearly, fuck caraways.
Cassowaries.
Cassowaries, that's what it was.
Yes.
I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah. They were in like Far Cry 3 or 4.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
You're like, oh god.
Yeah, oh god.
Yeah. And that's from Jake over at Draft Mechanic. Thank you for the adorable emu.
Yes.
Which is better than the hideous, like, monkey teeth emus that Matt has sent recently. So, but apparently that's the thing to do. Email us emus.
Apparently. Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email.
Indeed. We also had a reply to one of our older episode BGG posts. Zach, you got that ready for us?
Yeah. Such an old episode.
Last
week's.
This is from Matt. I based my decision to buy Hanami Koji on Zach's love and praise of the game. A risky decision, but one that paid off. I am slowly realizing that I am, correctly, Team Zach.
Now, I want to interject here, because I'm not necessarily saying you're not Team Zach, Matt, but I also really like Hanami Koji. Like, I think...
You like Shad and Totten better, apparently.
I think Matt just likes good games. At least currently. I don't know. Anyway, continue the BGG post.
Yeah. Hanami Koji is an amazingly complex game. I have enjoyed all of my plays so far, and each frustrating decision of which action to play and trying to figure out what it is my opponent's thinking is a Vizzini style dialogue going off in your head.
Vizzini?
Oh, as
you know Vizzini. It's definitely what's the actor's name? Princess Bride, the short little bald guy.
Poison.
Okay.
Where he's like, well, clearly I cannot choose the wine in front of me.
Yeah.
But because of all of these things, I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is an actually very great description of Hanami Koji.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Love Hanami Koji. Love how short it can be. And love finding new ways to play. Great game. 8 out of 10. Once again, I based a gaming purchasing decision on Zach's high praise and went all in on herbalism for the Shadow over Kyoto, Crow's Overkill, Hanzi, and herbalism. Can't wait to get it. Hashtag Team Zach.
I mean...
Hashtag blessed.
Didn't you also do the herbalism craziness?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. It's not fair. Those are just good games. Like, that's not a hashtag Team Zach. That's a hashtag good games.
No one ever is a hashtag Team Jeff.
I don't think there's been a hashtag Team Adrian either.
Well, that's
so
fine.
Congratulations, Zach.
You're welcome.
That's fine, though.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Is there hash? I mean, there's hashtag Team Blood Bowl.
Have to put a call out to all the heavy cardboard listeners here. Hashtag Team Adrian. Heavy gamers here. Got to stick together.
I mean,
tying these things together, and
you've got your whole thing going with Andrew. So,
but the email,
yeah,
and
all
the
the email,
histories?
yes.
Okay,
so you got something at least.
I have something.
Yeah.
Matt,
and at least a 10-minute portion of the show where I talk about Blood Bowl.
Yeah. You have your own fucking segment, Jeff. Okay. So
how did you get to read all of the emails?
Because I say email's the best.
Yes.
Default. Speaking
of emails, Matt, I would really appreciate it if you would explain, because I don't know how I've never noticed this before, but on BGG, you have the St. Louis Blues fan micro badge. And I want to know, Matt, how did you become a Blues fan? Because I don't know if you've caught this ever in the listening to the show. My family's lived in St. Louis for over a decade now, so I'm like an Avs fan first in hockey, and then a Blues fan.
Even worse.
And then probably next a Red Wings fan. and the Blackhawks can just fuck right off.
You're gonna make Jeff vomit his soul out.
That's the goal. And also probably, I don't know if Paul gives a shit about hockey, but considering he's from Chicago, I'm sure he has some irrational love for the Blackhawks.
Maybe.
Go to hell. But yeah, that wraps up all of the listener feedback stuff for this episode. Thanks, Jake, for the email. Thanks, Matt, for the BGG response. If anybody ever wants to get a hold of us, there's a whole bunch of ways to do so, starting with emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can also jump over to our Board Game Geek Guild number 2731, where there are weekly posts for the review discussion episode, where you can chime in your stuff there. You can find all of us on Twitter. I tweet under at MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I am Jeff_MHGG.
We are also on Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys. We have a fancy website, milehighgameguys.com, which will soon feature a Westworld Best Local Board Gaming Podcast badge for 2018, because hell yeah, we are that thing. You can also find all of our content over on punchboardmedia.com, along with all of the other awesome members of Punchboard Media. So feel free to jump over there and check out awesome people like Jake from Draft Mechanic, who emailed us. Good friend of the show. I really appreciate their beer pairings with board games. I like that they were actually able to make that a thing. Like way back when I was thinking of how to do a podcast, I was like, well, I love beer. I love board games. How can I put them together? And I was like, pairings. I couldn't think of a way to make it work. They made it work. So good on you, Jake and Danielle over there at Draft Mechanic.
And apparently they love Baptista, and it's my fault.
I mean, Baptista.
It's a good problem to have.
Baptista's good. Like, even my hophead self loves Baptista.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Be sure to check out the show notes over there on, like I said, milehighgameguys.com, where we have a link to the Slack channel, which is an awesome way to stay in contact with all of us and hear what inane shit we're up to, and also just talk board games with us and a bunch of other awesome fans.
And all those horseshit people that send us emails.
Anyhow, Slack channel is a bunch of fun. Link is in the show notes. It's open to everyone. There is a private Slack channel for patrons if you decide to support the show over on patreon.com. Totally optional, but we do appreciate the support.
Yep.
Gives us money to pay the bills, keep the lights on. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything.
Which apparently we need more, because only 2 out of those 3 lights are on.
Yes, we need more money because one of the light bulbs in the studio is burned out, and I have not replaced it.
Correct. I've just noticed this.
But right on. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Be sure to tune in on Friday when we have the very contentious review of Rising Sun. I almost blocked the name out of my mind.
Don't worry, it's just like one more day, Adrian, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Are you ready to listen to probably the longest review we have ever done?
It'll just be Adrian saying something, and then...
Well, except I get to edit it, so I get to cut out everything good that anybody says about this stupid game.
It's going to be, why is this mechanic the best mechanic of all time? Mm-hmm. Why is this mechanic the worst mechanic of all time?
Yes.
Let's do that for every little piece of the game.
Yep.
And good luck, everyone.
Yeah. It'll be contentious. We are bringing on a 4th chair, longtime friend of the show and occasional guest, although he hasn't been on in a while. Making a triumphant return, I guess you could say.
Indeed.
Will be Ant, the barrel overlord over there at Epic. So it's going to be 3 Epic employees and Zach.
Indeed. Blood Bowl commissioner.
Yes. So excited to have him back on the show as we review Rising Sun and really get into that. So check that out on Friday. It'll be a good episode. Lots of swearing, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, otherwise, be sure to check us out next Wednesday. It'll be our 90th episode, which really means it's like almost like 160 or something at this point, since we do 2 a week. I don't even know.
Like that, yeah.
We've given up on keeping track of actual episode numbers. We shouldn't, though, because we should have been able to, because at some point we can say we've put out the most episodes of anyone ever. And we don't know when that is now.
It's going to be a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm pretty sure there are daily podcasts.
Ugh.
Well, I mean a board game, because I don't think there's any daily board gaming podcasts.
I don't know. Maybe there's someone that no one's heard of.
If
I mean, why-
anybody who's listening knows of anyone who does more episodes than we do,
No, I still stand by the amount of content we do per
Most
week
content.
is the most.
Most content.
just most of it's bullshit.
I
Like
once
this.
again, quantity. That's what we go for.
Just bulk.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Tune in on Friday. I'm going to wrap this all up because, as always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Jeff. Secrets.
Bye.
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 And then
All I can think about is Mr. Bones' World, right?
Yeah. Is there any way you can make an impossibly long roller coaster through this dreamscape?
anyway.
I want my mind to get off Mr. Bones Welder.
Punchboard Media, where we all
Bring something
to the table
pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.